Good morning from Amsterdam, and today we are going to go and check out all of the yarn stores the city has to offer. Hi and welcome, my name is Rebecca and this channel is the Creabea Knitting Podcast, and today I'm in Amsterdam. I've got a couple of hours free and I thought I would take you with me to visit the yarn shops across the city. I'm really excited. I lived in the Netherlands for 3 years and I speak Dutch, but I've not spent very much time in Amsterdam. So it's kind of like a bit of a mini touristy day for me as well. I studied right down in the south, and so it wasn't like a very common occurrence to come to the city. I also wasn't a knitter when I studied here, so it's exciting to come back with a fresh perspective of looking for yarn. And I'm going to go to 3 yarn shops today and hopefully have some stops on the way for some coffee and some cake and I don't know what else. I really want to have a gas souffle, which is like a pocket of fried cheese. And I thought I would take you with me. So let's do a quick rundown of the shops we're going to go to today and then we can get going. So the first yarn shop is called Hooks and Yarn. It is the furthest away, or like the most far out from the city. I'm currently pretty far out of the city. I'm going to hop on the metro and head in, and then I'm going to walk over to that one. I think I'm going to hopefully go and get some breakfast before I go to the first shop. After we go to Hooks and Yarn, the next stop is the Off Stop. This came really highly recommended. I asked for some tips from the yarn shops and this one was pretty high up the list. And depending how I'm feeling, like if I at that point need a little break, I've got a cafe lined up. If not, I'm going to power through and go to the final shop, which is Stephen and Penelope, run by of course Stephen West. I actually don't know who Penelope is, I just know the Stephen part. So yeah, we'll go there, we might see him. I don't think we'll see him, but we might see him. And they have some really, like that's the yarn shop I've looked into the most, I think. So I feel like I have expectations for that one. But it's also the final one, which I think is good because it means if I don't find anything else I want to get anywhere, I know there's at least something I want to get Stephen Penelope. And yeah, I've got until 4 o'clock. I'm going to get a train out of the city into Rotterdam at 4 p.m. So I have like 5 hours in the city by the time I leave here, get into the centre. I have about 5 hours, so lots of time for yarn shopping. And in terms of what to buy, I am here with the hand luggage, so I don't have a lot of space for shopping. The things that I am considering are, I would quite like a special skein of something, maybe something fingering weight. I know that Stephen and Penelope do some like Dutch colours, which I think I would really like. And something interesting that I can't get elsewhere. I don't really want to be cramming stuff into my bag if I could just get it at home. I'm also currently knitting the cloud bow top and I already want to make 10 of them. So I would consider picking up some mohair to make another version. So yeah, that's what we're looking for today. Oh, the other thing is a Sophie shawl with a scarf, like the long Sophie, the pattern by Petite Knit. I don't think I'm going to make that exact pattern. I think I'm going to make the Ozetta shawl. There's an Ozetta one that's a bit deeper, but I think I'm going to use the same applied I-cord as the Sophie setup, so it's a bit deeper. Anyway, I could look for some yarn for that as well. I think that would be a really nice like luxury, like way to use luxury skein. So if I pick up something a bit more pricey, it'd be a really good way to make something usable. So it's pretty warm here today. It's like 21 degrees and I packed my brand new mohair sweater. So apologies in advance if I look a bit sweaty in all my footage. But yeah, I hope you enjoy and I will catch up at the end of the day with if I bought anything and what my take was on each of the shops. Let's have fun! So I realised I actually was super hungry and I wanted some coffee and something to eat. So I kept walking in the direction of the first shop, but I had a cafe in mind to go to. The walk was stunning. There were all these bridges over the canal, lots of boats on the canal, and of course lots of bikes. And here you can see some houseboats. I got there and the line was huge, but it went down really quickly and I got a seat outside. I had intended to order something savoury like eggs or a sandwich, but when I got there everyone was eating this, which is apple tart with whipped cream, or as the Dutch call it, appeltaart met slagroom. And I'm so glad I went for this. It was delicious. Whilst I was sitting, waiting and knitting, a lady came over and asked if she could share the table with me because it was so busy. And she was asking me all these questions about knitting and about living in Scotland and living in the Netherlands and about politics, and it felt like in high school when you learn a language and you have to do an oral exam. This felt like my oral exam to say, do you still speak Dutch? Can you still claim to be fluent? But she was so lovely and it was a really nice little introductory way to start off my day, and nice to have some company with my apple tart and my coffee. So I made it to the first shop, Hooks and Yarn, which is a beautiful, big, bright shop. It has all these windows at the front, which made the whole place feel really open and really airy and very spacious. And there was a really great selection of yarn here. They had a lot on offer. Some brands I'd already heard of. They had Malabrigo, they had Isire, they had Jamieson & Smith, they had Istex, the list goes on and on. They also had something for every budget, which I really appreciated, whether that be natural fibres with like well-known brands, or they had a lot of cotton. They even had some space at the back of the shop for acrylic, which I really loved. They had on one wall this display feature with these like circles of yarn, and one of them held all their Istex, their Letlopi and their Alafaslopi. And here you will get a bit of a better look at something which may have come home with me. I just thought this was so intriguing, and it's funny watching it back because I just had to take it home with me after feeling how soft it was. I went to buy this yarn, and at the end of the woman serving me said, "What will you make out of this?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know." And she thought, "This is amazing." She was like, "You don't know? Like, that's amazing." And I was like, "I don't know what I'm going to ever buy with my yarn. I just take it home with me. I see it and I want it." She thought this was very liberating. And then a really short walk away was the off stop. This was a much busier shop and a much smaller shop with a great selection. It's some JC Rennie, lots and lots of Rowan. I loved these mega mohair balls. They were just really cool. There's some really interesting hand-dyed and linen yarns. Again, spot something here that came home with me. Incredible selection of books and magazines, and so many shop samples. Something I loved is all of these samples were also for sale in the shop, so you could go in and buy your hand-knit jumper if you wanted to. And I made it to Stephen and Penelope. I almost walked past the shop. It just felt so like tucked away. And oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever seen this much hand-dyed yarn in one place at one time, apart from at a yarn festival. The walls were completely lined with brands I'd heard of, like Ching Fibre and Life in the Long Grass, Stranded Dye Works, and then a whole host of brands I'd never heard of before who had completely beautiful and stunning yarn. It was a feast for the eyes. There were of course so many samples, which was so cool to see. All the West Knit shawls, like I'm not even a West Knit shawl knitter and I still love to see them all in person. And the colours choices were amazing and I really enjoyed especially like the whole scarf at the back and seeing some more like budget friendly options. There were just samples and bits and bobs and stuff everywhere. It was an absolute knitter's dream. And I really liked how many little gadgets and books and notepads and stitch markers they had, so that if you maybe didn't have space to take home some yarn, you could still take home a souvenir of sorts. And after all that, I was ready for a little snack, a little beer, and a little bit of relaxation to stop and enjoy the view before I caught my train. Okay, it has been almost a week since I filmed all the rest of this video. I am back in Scotland and I have some yarn to show you. So it was really, the rest of the time in the Netherlands was just really busy. I was spending time with friends and I was staying with friends and I did not get a minute to stop and record, and I wanted to like enjoy my time there with them because that's ultimately why I was visiting. And then this week, it is now Thursday. I was so tired. Someone reminded me that I'm no longer a 21-year-old student. I needed most of this week to recover. And to be honest, I'm still not feeling all that fresh. But I have some yarn to show you. So I thought I would run through what I picked up. They have pretty much been like stuffed in my bag. So I'm just checking that they're all still decent. But yeah, I bought something at every single shop I went to. So let me start at the beginning. The first yarn shop I went to was Hooks and Yarn. It was lovely. It was such a lovely shop. It's really nice and open and bright. They had a really great selection, a lot of really good commercial brands. Some hand dyed, like not a lot of hand dyed. What I really loved is they had some acrylic yarn, which I feel like you never go somewhere where you see like hand dyed yarn, and like they had like Istex and Holst and Malabrigo, and then they also had acrylic. I thought that was really cool. Someone was in there buying the yarn to make a blanket, and I picked up yarn there which I was not expecting to find or to buy because I didn't really know this existed. So I bought 3 skeins of mohair by Canard, but it's not mohair silk. It is, so this is what it looks like. And it is 65% kid mohair, 35% merino, 350 meters per 50 grams, and it is so incredibly drapey. There is no structure at all to these skeins, like they are just they do not pass the structure test. And I just thought this was so interesting. It is there were a few colours, but I got this really lovely like silver grey colour. It's like butter. It's so soft. It is, yeah, it's incredibly soft. It has a really lovely sheen to it as well. Like, I don't know how to pick that up, but it's really like silvery almost. So yeah, I thought this was interesting. I'm sure one of them said where it was from. One of them had more information. Oh yeah, that's strange. One of them does have more info on the ball band than the other. Mohair is the fleece from the Angora goat. It's known as the diamond fibre within natural fibres. You will experience a durability and elasticity which is completely unique. Characteristics of mohair: luster, volume, elasticity, flame resistant, dyes well, and lightweight. So that's really cool. Of course I've worked with mohair silk before, but I've never just worked with like mohair merino. So this is technically, I mean, it's a sweater's quantity to hold with something. So I have 3 times 350 meters, so 1050 meters, is that right? Like I said, I was limited on space, so I did not bring, like I probably, like maybe a 4th would have been helpful, but I didn't have a whole lot of space. It was the first yarn shop I went to, and I can pretty comfortably get a sweater from under 1,000, like around about 1,000 meters. And I thought, like, worst case, I could just not hold it in like the cuffs or in the neckband or something, like, or crop it. That's an option. It was €11 per thing, per skein, that's the word. So not like crazy expensive. I think about things like Asair mohair, which is about the same price, and that is mohair silk, and that is like £11 for 25 grams and like 250 or 200 meters. So I thought it was like pretty well priced, but obviously you're holding this as a second strand, so that means that you're automatically like accepting it's going to be a pricier garment because you're holding two strands together. Since getting home, it has been like really cold and blustery outside, and I am considering the option of making a shawl. And I want one that's like really soft and I can like wrap myself up in. And I have some Drops Nord, which is a sock yarn, and I thought the combination is it's wool alpaca, so it's very, very soft, but it also has some, what's the word? Like polyamide, I think, or nylon. It's got one of the two. So it's quite strong, and I thought that might be good to pair with this, although I do realise this now it says that it's a very durable. I thought the silk was the thing that gave it its durability in mohair, and not the mohair itself. So I was thinking I need something to hold it that's a bit stronger, and a sock yarn might do the trick. So yeah, it would be a really big, like a really big cozy shawl is what I'm thinking. Or do I make another sweater? I have like a grey sweater that I wear quite a lot, so part of me thinks I should avoid that and maybe I make a shawl. I am not a shawl wearer. I have one and I pulled it out this week and I love it, but also I want one more neutral and I want one that's like cozy, super soft, and that is what gave me the idea to use this. So yeah, that's my first purchase from Hanks and Yarn, and I'm really pleased. So my second shop, okay, I've got it now. My second shop I went to was the Off Stop, and it was really busy. It was lovely. It was right in the centre, or like it felt very central. The Hanks and Yarn was really out the way in a lovely, like quiet, more of a quiet neighbourhood. Whereas the Off Stop was like pretty central and felt pretty busy. It was also a pretty busy shop. They had a lot of commercial yarn. So a lot of Rowan, some JC Rennie, which is always nice to see. They had some, I think, for Olive. They had, yeah, so a lot of stuff that I feel like I can get here anyway. They had a great selection of books, which was lovely. But I was completely caught by this one skein of yarn. And I actually don't know, yeah, part of me thought that maybe some of the mohair like rubbed off onto this, but it's not. So this is from Vol met verve, so wool with paint, I guess. That's a really bad translation, I might have that wrong. No, that's not. Verve is paint, but I don't know what verve is. I have to look this up before I embarrass myself. Wool with something. By Sylvia. I've seen this before. I've got a feeling that someone I know, not this colour, but someone has used this wool before that I watched, like another podcaster, and I don't know who it is. So it's hand dyed in the Netherlands, which I really loved. It's called Wool Linen Heather, so it's 85% virgin wool and 15% linen. 100 grams is 400 meters, so it's like bang on fingering weight, and the colour is Bombay brown, and it is like, I think you can see why I got attracted to this. I love the heathering. I think that's really quite unique. It's like a dark and a light heather, so it takes like brown flecks but also some of the white flecks. I thought this was so cool. I really like this. So I keep buying yarn and saying I'm going to make a musselburgh hat, and then realising it's the wrong yarn for a musselburgh. I brought some yarn which I planned to make with it before, and it was mohair and a fingering weight. But somebody told me, like someone mentioned, like remember it's held double, it's folded double. So double layer of wool and I've folded up brown. That's like 4 layers of wool and mohair. Like Scotland does not get that cold. So I'm going to use that for something else, but in the meantime I thought this would actually make a really, really good musselburgh hat. Just to go ding 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 away on. So yeah, I'm going to look this up because now I want to know what fervor means. Oh, okay. It means panache. So like a little something. So like wool with a little something. Wow, I really just thought this was paint this whole time. I was pretty confident coming back from the Netherlands that my Dutch had stayed really good, but potentially that's not the case given that I didn't know that this was what that was. So yeah, vol met verve means wool with panache. A little je ne sais quoi. So yeah, I really love the skein, and it's my only like 100 grams skein I bought, but I was confident that this deserved 100 grams of carrying around for the weekend. And yeah, I will at some point cast on a muscle burra. I just have a lot of like, I feel like I have a lot on my needles at the minute, and I wanted all the sweaters, so the accessories are not getting cast on, but that's okay. Okay, and my third and final yarn was from Stephen and Penelope. I loved Stephen and Penelope. It was such a lovely shop. I feel like a lot of yarn shops where they only have hand-dyed yarn can be really intimidating because everything feels really pricey and you feel like priced out, or you buy like one skein and you're like, oh, I only bought that because I felt like I had to buy it. And that, I didn't get that at all with Stephen and Penelope. I think the staff were really, really friendly, which is really nice. The yarn, like as well as having hand dyed, they also had things like Holst, and they had Isire, and they had some Camarose. So it wasn't like all hand dyed yarn, and even within the hand dyed yarn, the price points vary quite a lot. So I still felt there was a lot on offer there. I also really loved their like gadgets and their other little bits. Like they had some pins, and they had bags, and they had that was amazing. And they also had shawl samples everywhere, which of course if you go to Stephen West yarn shop you expect shawls everywhere. But I went in with a plan. I kind of knew what I wanted, and I came out basically with exactly what I wanted. So I bought 2 skeins of Glow Hair, which is this Stephen West mohair, and it has like picked up all the crap from the bottom of my bag, so apologies in advance for like the odd crumbs sticking to this mohair. To make sure that it fit, like this is at the very bottom of I had a rucksack for, it was like 3 nights. This is at the very bottom, and I think the other skeins have held up pretty well, but this one has definitely taken the biggest beating. So 2 skeins of Westwool Glow Hair, which is 75%, oh, they're the same colour. Yeah, in the camera, this one's coming a little lighter, but in real person I don't think there's a difference. So yeah, this is Glow Hair, which is 72% mohair, 28% silk. It is very, very lustrous. I think it was more lustrous, but again my bag has kind of destroyed it a little bit. This is the beautiful tag, it's very shiny. And I bought the colour Canal House because again I wanted like a souvenir colour, and Canal House is the name, like it's the colour that quite a few, not so much now, but I guess traditionally a lot of like Dutch houses along the canals used to be. It is 400 meters per 50 grams, so like a slightly heavier mohair. I guess usually mohairs are like 210, so ever per 25, so ever so slightly heavier than a traditional mohair. And I'm gonna make a cloud bow. I had a cloud bow on my needles to go to the Netherlands, but I realised when I was there the colour I was using was not, like, it just wasn't enough. It wasn't the right colour for by itself. I think it'll be really nice with the second strand. So this is going to be my version. So I think I might have this as like a Christmas cast on, maybe a Christmas Eve cast on. It's in my plans in December, and I think it'll be a really nice like festive-y sweater to wear like over a pair of jeans. And I have plenty enough for that. And this was €22 per skein. So again, this is pretty much, they had Isire silk mohair there that was €11 per skein, and that's 25 grams. So it's basically priced exactly the same as Isire, just in bigger skeins. So I was really pleased with this purchase. I think it really like hit the nail on the head. I also picked up a Chalgu cable from Stephen and Penelope because I needed a certain size, and I knew if I didn't buy it there I'd have to order it at home, so I was like I may as well just buy it while I'm here. And yeah, all in all, a really, really great day. I really enjoyed it. It was really lovely, and I really particularly enjoyed like the staff at Stephen and Penelope were lovely. The staff everywhere were really friendly, but especially there it was so nice to chat to them. And yeah, I would definitely recommend carving out some time to go to the yarn shops if you are visiting Amsterdam, especially the second 2 are really pretty central, and the Off-Stop, the second one, is really close to a fabric shop. So if you are a multi-faceted crafter and you also enjoy buying fabric, I would recommend there. And I think Stephen and Penelope was the best one for a souvenir skein. If you're just going for one thing, I would probably recommend Stephen and Penelope. Also just, it was cool. I felt like I was, like even just seeing his shawls, all the shawls had like a picture of the pattern with Stephen wearing the shawl, and I felt like I was like meeting a celebrity just by seeing the shawl that he was wrapped around him. So yeah, I had such a good time. I had such a good time in the Netherlands, and I'm so glad I got to squeeze in some yarn shopping. I definitely don't need any more yarn. The yarn is coming out my ears right now, so I better get casting some of these on sometime soon. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little bit of footage, and I really enjoyed taking you with me around the city. Until next time, yo!